Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle. I'm your host, Eddie Gona. Special interview once again, this time with Christopher Scott, sports anchor and sports analyst. You know, works for Mellow TV or Mellow FM, if you want to put it that way. You know, do a lot of work for KLS, Sports Max. Christopher, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us in the Sports DTM studio.
Always a pleasure.
All right, there's a question that we ask all our guests. I know you know that question. Which sports teams do you support?
All right. So for football, it's Manchester United. For basketball, it's the Miami Heat. For NFL, it's the Miami Dolphins. For the Major League Baseball, it's the Miami Marlins. I'm a Miami type of team.
Straight Miami.
Yeah. It's my family that kind of brought me into that. Actually, brought me into both, basketball and football. But I decided to kind of branch off the NFL and then support the Miami Dolphins and baseball, the Miami Marlins. I kind of like what the Astros were doing before the whole scandal went on with them, but strictly Miami Marlins fan, no doubt.
So I know a lot of persons know the voice, but who is Christopher Scott and how you got into sports and sports journalism, if you want to put it that way?
Well, who is Christopher Scott? Jovial, kid at heart, but also determined. How I got into sports, I tell this all the time whenever I talk about it. It's just something that was embedded in me, when my brother actually went to school, I never knew that it was something that was going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life, my brother being a former St. George's College student as I was, but also progressing to the local league and being successful with Tivoli Gardens. It was kind of embedded in me, and then with me being articulate from a tender age, winning the first ever flow debate competition with Lannaman's Prep when I went there, and then representing Jamaica at the oratorical competition for Optimist Club. It kind of went hand in hand. So my love for sports started when I was a little boy, about 2000, 2001, supporting Manchester United. This was about a year or two after the famous 1999 team that won the treble.
Yeah.
Manchester United, that exciting Champions League final against Bayern Munich when all hope was lost. It was something that I knew I could have done, but it actually wasn't the first thing I would have done. It was actually law. And then, one day my mom saw that I was not really into it, and she sat me down and was like, "Christopher, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I want to read sports on TV." And she was like, "Okay, fine. Well, I'm going to support you through the 4 years, but when you get finished, you have to seek out a job on your own." And even with that, mommy was always looking out the corner of her eye, and seeing what I was doing. And then, after a lot of anticipation, I got into Melon. That's where I am today. But I actually started out as a sports producer before I left school at KLS. So I actually started out there with Sean Grant. And then I progressed to being an analyst at Sports Max. Now I'm working with Donald Oliver, Chris Taylor, Ricardo Chambers, George Davis, Lance Whitaker, and then it kind of progressed to Mellow TV, where I'm currently working at.
Yeah. I heard you mention a few names, but who would you say is your role model?
Um, well, my role model, I know it's kind of corny, but my role model has to be my brother. You know, he's the one that actually started me out in this
Hmm.
whole thing. And even though he didn't push me directly, it was his influence in sports. You know, it was his, larger than life attitude and character in sports that actually got me going. So I would say him definitely really is my role model when it comes to sports. And of course you have, the likes of Stephen A. Smith, that's over in the United States, Peter Drury in England. I
Yeah,
think he's one of the best, if
the
not the
best,
best
the best. Hmm.
commentator in the history of football. So Eric Garland as well. There are a host of people, but I have to say primarily it has to be my brother.
I know you commentate regularly on schoolboy football, but
Yeah.
how important is preparation and what goes into your preparation? And
All
what
right.
your
So
preparation is like?
I heard you mention me being a sports analyst. I'm not only a sports analyst, but I'm also a sports commentator.
Hmm.
And when you're looking at these kind of things, you have to have the information in front of you, and that is how I prepare. Now, when I am a commentator, it's more rigorous because now you would want to kind of introduce the atmosphere to the crowd, to the audience, and also you would actually want to set up your analyst. And when I am an analyst, I actually present the information in a way that's relatable to what's going on, or I describe, pre-game matches, how many times they've played each other, the last time they played, what happened, the formation that they're playing. This is how they're going to go about in this game. So preparation, you have to have the information before the game, especially when it comes to schoolboy football. There's more history and story behind schoolboy football. The beginnings of this student. What is he doing? How is he
Yeah,
doing? What is he doing to improve his game? What is the school doing in terms of that? When you look at the the professional level, you just talk about the team and how they're progressing. When you talk about school, you talk about education, you talk about the preparation for them, because sometimes preparation for schoolboy football is way different than preparing for the professional level. So it has to take into account that. The preparation is rigorous. I say it's more rigorous as a commentator, but also it is still very important as an analyst.
right. Interesting. But what do you enjoy most, being a sports anchor or analyst?
Uh, I would have to say a sports commentator. Of course I love what I do as a sports anchor on Mela TV. It's something that as I said, I wanted to do. But
Yeah,
being an analyst, being able to paint a picture, whether on radio or even on TV, it is something that it is so enthralling, it is so thrilling, it is so satisfying. That satisfaction level, of course, it is higher to me as a sports analyst and commentator. When you're doing commentary on a goal as it happened, or when you're an analyst describing the goal when it's scored, it is something that I believe is more thrilling than a sports anchor, in my opinion.
hmm, I would say so myself.
Yeah.
But I know an analyst's job sometimes might be a little bit difficult. Have you ever received any backlash as a result of what you say, your comments, or your thoughts, or your takes?
Yeah, I mean, you're an analyst. When you say that
Hmm.
this person is better than this person, when it comes to opinion, you're always going to get somebody that flocks you. But I remember when I was a commentator, and I did the Kasafa Super League. That is where I actually started as a commentator for the Kasafa Super League, and then this is professional football, of course.
Hmm.
Um, Somebody came to the person that gave me a chance, and he said that why am I on it every single week? He wants to see somebody else. um
Wow.
and this is the person that is actually in media as well. So it was something that I took as motivation. It was something that kind of took me aback because I've never received something in terms of criticism like that. Obviously they persons would tell you how to sometimes describe this, describe that. It would be better to do it like this, like that, but never in my wildest dreams have I received a comment like that where they say, oh well, why are we hearing him every week? We want to hear somebody else. I'm tired for hearing him every week. And it was
Mhm.
something that was kind of shocking to me, but I took it as motivation and I ran with it.
Mhm. So you would definitely have that as a major challenge. Did you come across any other challenges on your journey?
um Not really. Of course, as a sports anchor, sometimes you kind of stumble. My first time going live as a sports anchor, I was very, very nervous.
About, yeah.
Trust me, it was nerve wracking, but I got through it. Sometimes you buck shuffle, but that is a part of live TV. That is a part of things that you do. Sometimes I pronounce names wrong as an analyst and a commentator, but it is learn as you go along. I'm happy to have persons that are able to guide me. Phil Riley, Donald Oliver, Ricardo Chambers, George Davis, Sean Grant, Brandon Carvalho, Roseanne Green, Shelley Ann Hill, Jamie Rance. There's so many people in media that has helped me and has kept me calm, cool, and collected when it comes to sports journalism, because trust me, it's not easy at all.
Hmm. Best and worst thing about sports journalism.
The best thing is being up close to the action. You're always going to be there. You're always going to be up close and personal.
Yeah.
um you know and it is something that I love. Actually, as a sports reporter, because I'm not only that, but I'm also a sports reporter, I actually interviewed Floyd Mayweather's brother when he came down here and boxed. So being close to the action is something that I enjoy a lot. The disadvantage, um I would say, you're well, you can take it in stride, but you can also have it as a disadvantage. Your take can be taken many different ways. There can also be a huge number of misconception and miscommunication. So what you mean is a lot of times not what people take from it, and I think that is a disadvantage for me when it comes to sports journalism.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You're a part of traditional media in radio and
Yeah,
also the new media in terms of YouTube. How
yeah.
important are YouTubers?
Very important, because when it comes to sports and YouTubers, they don't just get fake news and present it. We are the type of persons that we want persons to believe what we say and
Hmm.
understand what we're saying. So for us to go and spread fake sports news, it is not something that I believe it is easier to spread fake news than fake sports.
Of course.
I think that it is something that is easier to spread. So I think that once you're spreading it, it is easy for persons to turn on you. So I believe that we're very important when it comes to that landscape, and I really appreciate the fact that persons like Coaches Desk, Talawa TV, Sports Down the Middle are able to go to these type of games, whether it's football, basketball, or so, and we're basically like the persons in traditional media. So we're not treated as outsiders, which is what I love dearly, because I am both. I'm both in
Right.
traditional media and I'm in the new
Right.
media, digital realm. So it is something that we really see that is flourishing when it comes to new media, and I really like that.
Biggest achievement thus far.
Oh wow. There's so many. Whew, wow. Um One of my biggest achievement was doing the Manning Cup final. As a as a homegrown St. George's College born and bred guy, what I always enjoyed watching Manning Cup. I always enjoyed going to Manning Cup. I always enjoyed, going to the Manning Cup finals. So for me to actually do a Manning Cup finals, and not only that, do it as a commentator with my alma mater in the finals, that was sensational.
Special.
That's something that
Yeah.
I really, really can't take back. Another very special moment for me would have to be, starting off as a commentator, being given a chance. And I believe that is why I, even though there are persons that I really would look up to as my role model, I would have to say that I classify him as a big brother. Donald Oliver really pushed for me to actually get into sports commentary and sports analysis, because he believed that I had a gift, or still have a gift, and he banked on it, and he really saw something in me that some people didn't actually. So I really tip my hat off to somebody I call a big brother in Donald Oliver. So I would have to say, starting off as well as also doing the Manning Cup final, which was 2018 between St. George's College and Kingston College, definitely.
Yeah, man, definitely. I want to big up Donald Oliver as well. Tremendous talent.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
All right. So, well, my goals kind of time where I see myself.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm a huge Manchester United fan, and I'd want within 5 years, by the time I'm about 31, 32, I'd be at Old Trafford doing commentary for them. And even if that's something that is a little bit further, I would actually extend my expertise and my knowledge outside of Jamaica, maybe go to Canada, USA, or England to kind of continue my expertise in sports journalism, and more importantly, sports commentary. So I would see myself going there within the next year or two. Actually, I'm looking forward to actually spreading my wings to another territory, because I believe that really and truly not enough Jamaicans, when you look at it, I mean, when you look at it, you count two people, one person specifically that is a Jamaican that's really doing bits over in another territory, and that's Alexis Nunes. And
Alexis, yes.
She's somebody that I also look up to as well when it comes to being a Jamaican that is making it outside of the country. So I'd want to work for ESPN or BBC Sports, and or Sky Sports, one of those three, and kind of spread my wings in terms of being a sports commentator and a sports journalist, because that's the next step for me.
Good stuff, Chris. Where can the people find you? Social media.
Right. So for social media, of course, it is basically everything across social media. For Instagram, it's Chris the Sports Guy, but it's Chris _ sports _ guy. On YouTube is Chris the Sports Guy. On TikTok, it is Chris the Sports Guy as well. I'm actually on TikTok. I give takes, and I actually give my opinion on stuff that I see is happening in the world of sports. So you can check me out on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, Chris the Sports Guy, all those three platforms.
All right. I want to thank Christopher Scott for joining us today.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Sports anchor, sports reporter, sports analyst, commentator, you name it. He's doing it all. So big up Christopher, the sports guy. Chris the Sports Guy. Go over there and support him. And this has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.